My summer fun cart is back in business. Oh yeah. Frank got this all cleaned up and set up for me. This is my sign that summer is soon here and gardening season will be in full swing. And now back to the garden. Oh boy, where were you? You exploring? What? Let's go. Tried living in the past, never did quite feel the same. I used to think that there was a place I'd rather be. I got there enough time to realize that you are only ever here. That's when I found peace where I am now. It's the only place I'll ever be. I found there are other places filled with a million pretty faces. I found peace where I am now. Hello, family friends. I think spring has finally sprung. It is a glorious day out here. I am going to try to reclaim my garden. I've got a lot of work to do. But before I can do that, I gotta get these little dinosaurs out of here. So, what's on the docket? We are gonna take the chicken shelter down, clean up the chicken tractor, get them out on the grass and start roaming, getting some clean grass and get them out of my garden. And then I can start planning. Spring is just one of those times where, you know, new possibilities, new attempts at field gardens, new attempts at a new season. So this is kind of an exciting time, at least in my world. I don't know about you, but you realize after the snow has melted and you have had your dog in a section of the backyard, and then all of a sudden you're like, dang, my dog poops a lot. Yeah, chickens are worse. They leave quite a winter mess. So that is the plan today, to clean all this up and get them out on the grass and get them roaming elsewhere. So come along for some family fun. And I love the taste. Oh, I love the taste. You're the only songbird sing like a lullaby of spring in the morning rain. In the morning rain, I'm gonna give you all my love. Wildflower, every hour.
So this is all the damage that they did to the garden in a month, I guess, or a couple weeks. It's all destroyed. Makes us do a lot more work.
You're a river running free, always where you're meant to be, and I'll go your way. Yeah, I'll go your way. Through your heart and open mind, color just outside the lines. It's the way you're made, darling, don't you change. I'm gonna give you all my love. Wildflower, give you every minute of every hour. Dancing the wind, you'll hear it whispering. I'm gonna give you.
It's a little warmer out here than I thought. A little difficulty this morning getting things going. The chicken tractor requires a little bit of extra work to get it up and ready for them tonight. So Frank's going to work on that before we take the shelter down. But in the meantime, I just wanted to share with you what I kind of have going on behind me here. What the intention was to this garden space here, I don't know. This was the garden space where I had my arch and I had my rose. And in the fall of last year, when I closed up my garden, I topped all my rows with some nice wood chip mulch and was hoping to kind of let that settle for the winter and then kind of come back in here in spring. And my mistake was not taking these girls out of here soon enough, because They have been scratching in here all winter, likely mostly since the snow has melted. They did not like the snow, but once that started melting, they got out here, and it took them no time to get that totally ruined. So now that they've gone and scratched in the wood chips into the compost that I had put up, I'm gonna have to pull all that wood chip stuff back and then kind of try to see if I can put some new topsoil and some new potting soil and a combination of compost and fresh soil there, because I'm afraid that wood chips may have pulled out too much nitrogen out of the soil. The boys are moving the tractor. They're moving the chicken tractor to the back out of this garden space. We're gonna wrap that up with our electric fence again, and then we'll do rotational grazing every 3 days. We'll move them so that they don't scratch up and make potholes, because they've done that. And Mitchell was out walking the other day and almost hurt his knee, so he got down into a grass hole. So unfortunately we got to be careful of that. So they will scratch up and they do want it, so I make sure that they have their dust bath, because they do love that. But my plan right now was, my intention for today, this week. Thor, Eli, beep him. I want him to leave the girls alone. I want to teach him not to bug them. Good boy. Leave them. I want to have him in the garden with me and protect the chickens, not scare them. And he's doing really good, but every now and again he needs to be corrected. So my intentions today were to start planting some of my seeds for my cold weather crops, so like my cabbages, my kale, some peas and things like that, but I'm not going to be able to do this until I'm in that soil and get that wood chips out and start to redefine the spaces. So that is the plan today. Little bit of a deviation. You know what, this is kind of par for the course as far as the best laid plans always need to be, a little flexible here on the homestead, because the reality of it is your plans may be a task list of things to do, and things like this happen. So although I do like having them in this space because they are kind of protected from the predators over the winter time, and they have the shelter, but I have to be a little bit more prudent with getting them out of here. Oh, you want me to film this?
We're going to flip it right over.
Oh.
Let's go. Okay, ready? 1, 2. All the way. Yep. Look at that. And most of it is out.
That's some good compost right there.
Yeah, it's going to be hung up a bit. We're just going to get it off the floor.
That was a workout.
I gotta get working on my garden here and try and fix this up. Are you gonna leave the girls there now for their first rotation, or are you gonna bring them back over here? I think you could just leave them there.
Chicken poop filled hay.
Come on.
I need to get these girls out of here before I start working, because look what they're doing.
Yeah, we're going to bring them out with the fence. Once I get this done.
You can collect them all. You can carry them. Eli can carry them.
Yeah.
I'll pass them over to him, or he'll pass them over to you.
Okay, grab the pitchfork there, Eli. You're going to get you to pull this stuff out of here. Go around the front side. And then just pull that stuff out. Grab the door there. And there should be. So we'll bring this back over. Yeah, I'm going to bring it over there, fix it up. I got to put this piece on here, put the lid back on the hinge. Yeah, I got a few things to do. Okay, now grab the back. Ready?
So that's the third year that we've had that chicken tractor. Frank made that chicken tractor from the Justin Rhodes blueprint, so if you do want to build that, I'll leave that in the links in the comments below, or in the links below. It's really good. It's worked well for us for 3 years. The first winter we modified it a little bit to give the girls a little more space, but we didn't do that this year. We just kind of left the roof on it. We just didn't have time before the winter came upon us. So we tried it this way to see how they would do, and they did fine. So we didn't have to modify by putting that big roof on them for the winter time. I'm procrastinating doing this while they're in here because they're totally like enjoying themselves. This is like their free tanning bed. One row at a time. Every garden has to have a seat. If you look at your garden as just a place of work, you won't enjoy it. So while I can get overwhelmed, this is a lot of gardening space for a new gardener, and I'm only a 3-year. I only started gardening in 2020, like most of you, or a lot of you. So this is a lot of garden space. And if I look at this entire project, I could definitely get overwhelmed. So I'm just going to do one row at a time, try to start to redefine the planting rows, and then go from there. One thing I did want to mention is when I was noticing when I was cleaning the rows, I was going to pull the wood chip mulch back, but a wise mentor of mine said that Mother Nature needs to be covered, and if you don't cover her, she will cover herself by way of weeds or whatever. By keeping the wood chip mulch on the rows, I'm going to keep that moisture in the soil, and that is my intention, because in the fall I topped each one of these rows with some horse manure and then topped it with the wood chip mulch for the winter. So when I was digging down further, I could see it's still very good soil, so I don't know if I'm going to have to amend, but what I am planning on doing is pulling all of these rows back and putting the mulch back on the rows, and then when it comes time for planting, so my intention is when I go to plant in these rows, I will pull that wood chip mulch back and then put in a nice potting soil or some sort of a light, airy, fluffy soil so that the seeds can germinate, and then once they pop up and once they get their second leaves, and I see that they're established and they're really good and they're a little bit stronger, I'll throw that wood chip back around the plants in an attempt to hold in the moisture, and I'll likely fertilize with a bit of a high nitrogen fertilizer just to kind of help replenish any of the soil that the wood chips may have pulled that nitrogen out of the soil. So we'll go from there, but like I said, have a seed in your garden, and every now and again make sure you take a break, or else you will not enjoy this process. Having a break.
Yeah, we should have some lunch.
What are you doing? Oh, you're gonna start taking down the shelter? Are you hungry? Do you want to have lunch? All right, well, I'm gonna get back at this. Done 2 rows. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more to do. So I'm gonna go have some lunch and I'll be back at it. You can help Daddy put the fence up.
get a little upset with you and turn around and give you a finger.
Alright, let's find some more.
My chicken wrangler. Get these girls out of here. You gotta protect me, Mama. You need to put your hand in front of their face.
That's what I'm trying to do. Come here.
Come here. No. That's good. Thor, leave it.
Dad. Oh, got a wing free.
This is not a catcher, I'm telling you right now. Oh! Get it in the corner, we'll get him. If it gets out of here now, I'll be shocked. Oh, you got it. Good job.
All right, lunch is over. Got a coffee. I'm sitting here thinking of what my garden will look like this summer. I am planning and I'm sitting here just kind of admiring this space and what kind of food I'm going to grow this year. There are so many options, but I just wanted to kind of share my ideas of what I do when I'm planning my garden space and what it is that I'm planning to do this year. I am going to go ahead and plant tomorrow, likely, or over the course of this weekend, some carrots, radishes, all of the frost hardy varieties, and things like cabbages and kale and things that can tolerate a little bit of coldness. We are here in zone 5B in central Ontario, and there is a little bit of frost still. Our last expected frost is not until May the 28th, so I've got to be a little cautious on what I put out. It is time to start planting your seedlings if you are interested in doing tomatoes and peppers and things like that. Typically that's about 4 to 6 weeks. So you search in for your region and for your area what is your last frost date, and then you can kind of just Google tomatoes when you should be starting your seeds. And usually for tomatoes in this area is 4 to 6 weeks prior to your last frost. So I should have started those last week, but unfortunately I didn't. So I'm going to get them started this week. I love to plant the heirloom varieties, but because I didn't get them started, I may buy some starts from the store for the nursery for just your basic Romas and the beefsteaks. But the heirlooms and those kind of varieties, I will likely start those. Peppers, I'm planning to do a lot of jalapenos this year. I didn't get any last year. I planted a lot. I had a lot of failures in my garden last year. It was a very deflating year. I am not a veteran gardener. I am brand new to this. I have only been gardening for 3 years, so I'm learning things. And it's funny. My husband actually Frank had made a comment that I wasn't loving my garden last year. It was a pretty hard season, tough season personally, and I had a lot going on. So it was really hard to get out here and give it my full attention. My mom went through a bit of a health emergency, so it was kind of took my focus off of kind of the garden, and had to kind of reevaluate my priorities at that point. So she's better, she's on the mend, so now I can focus a little bit more in this space, and that's kind of the plan. I'm looking forward to this season, and I'm looking forward to getting things going and spending some time out here with this little stink. But I think that having a garden, or having a seat in your garden so that you can sit and contemplate and the beauty and the art of this beautiful hobby and see it for the beauty that it is, because there's so much amazingness when it comes
I
to...
don't think that's a word.
What?
I don't think that's a word.
You don't think amazingness is a word? I think it's a word. If I say it's a word, it's a word. No?
Fact check that in the comments.
Fact check that, okay.
Wrangle battery.
Okay, so I think that, you know what, guys? Thank you so much for hanging out. I am going to try and see if I can get Eli to help me do some raking and sweeping and getting these rows redefined so that we can have a great summer here in the garden. So let's go.
Like summer in the shade, like a sip of lemonade, and I love the taste. Oh, I love the taste. You're the only songbird sing, like a lullaby of spring in the morning rain, in the morning rain. I'm gonna give you all my love, wildflower, give you every minute of every hour, dancing the wind, you leave it whispering. I'm gonna give you all my love, wildflower.
You can see behind me here, Frank got the shelter down. I asked him to film it, but he didn't. So we just bought one of those Canadian Tire shelters for the chickens for the winter time, and that's what they stayed in with the chicken tractor in this fenced area. And in our brutal cold climate, it did beautifully. The goal is to keep them dry and to keep the wind off of them, and that this will be our third year with it. So it did well, as long as he takes it down through the hot summer heat and the heavy winds. Hopefully it'll continue to serve us. But yeah, I'm just gonna clean up, and so we'll just get Frank will just get the broom and sweep all this stuff into the compost pile there that we've got in the corner, or in the middle. I'm just trying to build it up. There was a big divot here, so I've just been putting all of that waste in that corner there, or in that hole there, building that up. And some old kale here I'm going to rip out and start fresh and clean it up. A nice day like this, you can't resist a little ride before the sun goes down, but these girls need to get in their bed, and he's got a little work to do, so hopefully he's not long. His engine light's on. He wants to just kind of troubleshoot what's going on with it. But I'm going to go ahead and get this mess cleaned up before it gets too late. So the planting rows are where the wood chips are, and then I'm just gonna pull it. I tried to pull this kale out, but she ain't coming. I gotta dig it up.
It's not annual stuff, eh? Like you don't pull it out and then...
No, it's not annuals. You gotta plant it every year.
Oh, really? That's like alive.
What kind of things do you want to see in your garden this year?
I want to see an orange tree.
An orange tree.
I don't know, what do you think?
Does that mean you want to move to Florida? Because we ain't growing citrus here. We'll get these girls put to bed. I've got my garden kind of somewhat back in order. In. Come on. In.
Used to want people to love me, so
Here.
I learned how to sing.
In.
Then I thought I wanted money,
Stay in
I
there.
could buy a nice
Bring
thing.
in your bed. Go on.
When
Stay
I
there.
found
No.
it was as empty as could be, and now I'm staring at my face above a bathroom sink, saying I want peace.
Get out.
It's where I am now. It's the only thing I haven't found somehow. There are other places, there are a million pretty faces. I want peace, it's where I am now. Used to worry about the future never came. Tried living in the past, but never did quite feel the same. I used to think that there was a place I'd rather be. I got there enough time.
The girls definitely made a mess of this garden this winter, but I think I'll reclaim it very quickly. I'm really looking forward to a good season, a good gardening year, a lot of fun in this space. So hopefully you come along. Until next time, guys, stay safe and keep living.
I found peace with where I am now. Through the ups and downs, I have figured out you find peace where you make it. The scenery won't change.